Hello everyone, Tracy here from the Wildlife Garden. I'm in my husband's music room today. Husband's music room today. I've got Christmas sung in front of me. That's chestnuts roasting on an open fire. That's left over from Christmas. Just saying how dull it is. I'm in the music room because it's the sort of brightest room. It's a very bright room. It's north facing. I'm looking at a very big window because it's a Victorian house, so big window, and it's providing a better light, I think. No, there's been absolutely no let up with the weather, has there? It's been, if it's not raining, it's dull. It's the lack of light. And I was listening to the radio this morning on the news section. They were talking about a place in Scotland that had no sunlight for over 2 months. Well, it's funny that they should mention that because I've been doing something this year. I decided to do a photograph of my view from downstairs, the middle room that looks up over the garden. The garden's behind me. Looking at taking a photo each day just to record what the garden looks like. Really, it wasn't anything to do with the weather or anything. It was just the changes of that view over the 12 months. I thought it'd be interesting. I decided doing this after watching someone called Marion. She's got a YouTube channel called Marion's World, and she's an amazing woman. She's so creative, so artistic, and she was doing a photograph of her view. She's got a nicer view than us. She lives in the countryside, but she took a photograph and then painted that image on what's called a phonology wheel. And I'd not heard of phonology wheel, so I looked that up, and obviously Marion was showing us how she was doing it, and I thought, well, I can't do that. I'm not artistic enough to do that. So I just thought, out of interest, I'd just do a photograph every day for the 12 months if I can, if I'm here on every day. Obviously I'll be on holiday sometimes, but I'll have to do the view. Well, perhaps not, I don't know. But anyway, I'll be away at some point in the year. But it'd be interesting just to see the changes. I thought I'd have a look at the photos that I've taken so far and see how many days of sunlight we've had. Well, obviously, because I do the photograph about between 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning. It's just the morning view, and obviously the day changes and some sunlight comes out. But on those photographs, so I did 29 in January and I've done the first 13 of February. There's 5 days with blue sky. That's it. So yeah, it's been an incredibly dull year, and from what I gather, there are some records being broken on the dullness of this winter and the amount of rain that people have been experiencing and the storms and everything. It's not been a great winter for some people compared to ourselves. So with all that rain that we've been experiencing here and the dull light, is there such a thing as dull light? The dullness of the year. I'll let you see the consequences of that on my garden, see how my garden is coping with it. It's not looking great. Well, considering the bird flying by, a crow. Well, considering the lack of light and all that mud that's in my garden, I mean, it is a quagmire now, and you'll be able to see that the crocuses are coming up. Now, my crocuses, the first bulbs I planted were in my border, and they're spreading really well. They're naturalising everywhere. In fact, they're in the path, they're in the grass, they're up by the apple tree. I mean, they're spreading where, I'm just amazed how far they're spreading, really. snowdrops, I only had a little bunch of snowdrops right opposite my shed, and after watching Monty Don a few years ago, him saying you can divide them and they're better in the green than buying bulbs. I've never brought bulbs. I think it was a plant originally I got, and it naturally the bulbs divided and it did get bigger. So I dug them up. In fact, there's none by the shed now. I moved them completely. I don't know why. I should have left some there, but I didn't. I just moved them all up, mostly by the apple tree and the border that's just before the pond kind of thing, so the more woodland area of the garden. And I sort of planted 4 bulbs here, there and everywhere, but as you can see now, they are dividing really well, and the clumps are getting bigger. So I'm really pleased with how the snowdrops are doing, even though they've been later coming up, I think, than last year. Yeah, you can see that they're doing quite well and spreading well. The pond level has been very high this winter with all the rain, I've noticed, and that leads me on to one of the projects I'm hoping to do this year, which I think I mentioned it last year. I'm hoping to make a bog garden, which when I look at the garden now sounds absolutely ridiculous, because the garden is a bog at the moment, a natural bog. My soil is very good soil, but it does contain clay, so it holds, it holds the water, and I've always found it's on a high water table, even though we're on high ground. There is a high water table on our land, and but it's great to see the pond high, because I know then it will naturally feed a bog garden if I build a bog garden behind it. So that's one of my projects for this year. But no sign of frogs yet. I've been looking. I get tentative this time of year. I start looking and get myself worked up about them, as it's such as my garden's so isolated. I do worry that they're not going to return and things like that. I don't like the idea of doing this, because you're supposed to, you're not supposed to take frog spawn from anywhere else, but I'm hoping a friend can give me a little bit of their frog spawn, because I'm worried that my frog spawn, the gene pool's getting smaller, because the gardens are now so desolate around us. There's no other ponds now, so I'm just worried that the gene pool's not good. So I have in the past, someone gave me some a long time ago, so there are 2 different kinds of from 2 different areas, and I'm hoping, if I can, to introduce another bit. Not much, just enough to just keep that gene pool healthy. But yeah, but not long wait for that. I looked in my diary and it was the 3rd of March last year when the frog spawn first appeared, so looking forward to that. I'm very excited about it. The other thing I've noticed is how the birds are beginning to sing. I presume that's happening by you too. Not much at the moment, but the robin's been singing all year round. But yeah, the wrens are starting to sing, the blackbirds are beginning to sing. So obviously, and I've noticed they're pairing up. And in fact, yesterday I took my granddaughter to school and spotted a magpie building a nest in one of the rowan trees in the school playground. So not a rowan tree, sorry, it was a birch tree, and quite a significant nest I think they've added to it. And I noticed the crows, last year they built a nest in the pear trees in my neighbour's garden, and they've been adding sticks to that. I think the one crow was having a good look at it, so hopefully they'll use that nest again in the pear trees. So there we go. And oh yeah, and I've also had the results from the RSPB garden bird count, the garden bird watch. If you do that, they send you your results. I get my results anyway from the BTO because I've been doing it for the BTO for a long time, but it was nice to get this from the RSPB as an acknowledgement of what I've done and what my garden's like. And it compared really well with the national average. My garden, I think the national average is 28 birds in a garden, 28 species of bird, not 28 birds, 28 species. And mine was 30, so yeah, really, really good. I've always done really well with birds. I think because I've fed them for so many years now, they just, it's a food source for them, and they come regularly. So that was good, and it also, I'll put an image up of that. You can see the results. And the other thing that came up on those results was that we have sort of an unusual bird in the garden, not as common as most birds, and we get the stock doves coming in the garden, and so they've come up as unusual. I think last year they were, I don't know, it'll show you. I'll put the image up and you can see the results of that. And I have got some video footage. Now this is all on me learning to, I always film and edit on my phone. I've never learnt to use a PC, I'm just rubbish at it. My son's trying to teach me. And I have downloaded my trap camera, and it's got the stock doves on there. So I have got some footage of stock doves. So hopefully, if I can figure out how to edit on the computer, I can put the stock doves in and you'll see what they're like. I mean, they're a pigeon, but they're very pretty, and they're not. It's unusual in garden, especially an urban garden like mine, being an isolated garden. So yeah, so I was pleased with that result as well. And the other thing I did do this week is I went shopping, because although I can't get in the garden, you can go to the shops now and there are plants appearing, which brightens up your day a little bit, doesn't it? And I was going specifically for some sweet box. I brought a sweet box last year and I've put that opposite the shed, but I plan to move it. I think it's getting too much light because they are total shade lovers. So I think it's too much light there. I was aware because of how summer was last year, how much direct sunlight it was getting. It was getting a bit too much there, so I will move it. But so I got a second sweet box, but I also got a plant I've wanted for years and years and kept looking at it and umming and ahhing, mainly because they are a bit delicate, and that's a Daphne. But I have watched a couple of YouTube videos and people have got Daphnes in their garden, and I just thought, as our winters are getting milder, I mean, even though this winter's not been a nice winter, and then no winters are really, I suppose, it hasn't been cold, not here at all. We've hardly had any cold weather. So our winters and springs are getting wetter and warmer, really, aren't they? So I thought, well, I'll risk it. It's the time to risk it. So yeah, I brought myself a Daphne. Also brought myself another foxglove. I can't resist a foxglove when I see them. So here's a little bit of the plants, and as you can see, there's a couple of flower buds on the Daphne. And although I've got another foxglove, there are plenty of foxgloves in the garden. I just love foxgloves, so yeah, and I'm just eager to start, but they'll just stay there for the time being till I start my work on the garden. And I don't usually start until second week of March, really. I start to get in the garden, but I'm going to try something else this year as well, and that's to cut and drop. I don't know if you've heard of this. I was reading an article about we lots of people are leaving their plants now in all over winter, which is great news, much needed by insects, but a lot of insects still aren't ready to emerge in March. In fact, some don't emerge till April, and if we then start doing our garden, cut all those plants back and put them on our compost bin, or send them to the council to compost down, we're killing them, and they don't stand a chance. So they're asking you to try, if you can, to cut and drop. So take the plant down, cut it up carefully, and leave it on the ground. it'll act as a mulch, a natural mulch, and I use all the leaves that fall off the trees as a natural mulch. So if I can, I'll be cutting and dropping, so that if there's anything I haven't, I'm not aware of, is still on a plant, hopefully it gets a better chance of emerging as the weather warms up for them. So if you can try that, do it. I know with a wildlife garden you need poor soil, but that's for a lot of the meadow flowers really. Obviously when you have a meadow, you cut it, you leave it for a certain amount of time for the seeds to drop, and then you clear it, because you do not want all of that rotting down on top, because it would just enrich the soil, and the plants, the more dominant plants would take over. But as my garden is like a woodland, I think it will, it'll do okay being a woodland garden. So because a lot of my wildflowers are what you would naturally get on a woodland edge, so that might work for me. But do have a look at, do look that up. It's interesting to see what's best for your garden. I think that's it really, other than the shed. The other thing I've got on my list of things to do is my shed. Look at my shed. How does that happen? I mean, how does that happen? Mine isn't like a summer house, like some people have summer houses, don't they? And mine is just a storage shed, but I like to be able to get in it and swing a cat round in it, as they say. Oh gosh, it's a right mess. And as we've been having rat attacks on it, I need to be able to get in to sort of, I'm thinking now I'm going to have to put something inside to stop the rats getting in if they should gnaw along the perimeter of it, which they have been doing. When I fix it, I'll show you the rat damage to the shed, because it was on the bottom of the door. Well, it's in other places too now, so you'll be able to see that. So yeah, a big shed sort out to do, bog garden to build, and just the general tidying up to come. But hopefully that'll happen when the weather's much improved. Hopefully that'll be when the blue skies have returned in March. So all being well anyway. So until then, well, I might put in another little video before then, because March is a couple of weeks away, isn't it? So we'll see if anything happens, but mainly it's just rain that's happening at the moment in the garden and nothing else. So yeah, so take care everyone. Hope you've stuck with me to this point, and thank you very much for watching, and yeah, so we'll hope it brightens up soon. Take care. Bye for now.